What's going on, everybody? So actually, by quite popular request, I'm bringing you a video that includes what I would consider some wonderful everyday fragrances for the fall autumn season. I actually had multiple requests for this, and usually when that happens, those who've been watching a while know that I usually deliver when it comes to whatever topic. If it keeps getting requested, got to give the people what they want. So in this video, I'm bringing you the 10 that I think are just awesome. Not exactly run-of-the-mill everyday fragrances for the fall. So stay tuned. Starting with one that I myself have not been spending much time with this fall. Last fall I spent quite a bit of time with it, and it's quite the smoky vanilla ambery type of smell. It kind of sets you apart. It's sweet but not too sweet. It's warm but not too warm. It's woody but not too woody. You get it. ZADIG and Voltaire. This is him. It's got quite a bit of hype a while back, and deservedly so. Damn good fragrance. Man, it smells great. It performs pretty well. I mean, it's not a beast, but it's far from a weak fragrance. You can get them in the $50-ish range for a designer fragrance that performs and doesn't smell really synthetic. That's actually quite a nice price point. I think that's the sweet spot for a fragrance like this. Definitely not so much mass appealing, but quite enjoyable, and not some challenging fragrance, not some overly sweet fragrance. So if you're not a fan of the really sweet fragrances, you might enjoy this one. I think that smoky nuance and the amber kind of tone back the vanilla just enough. There is a creaminess here between the vanilla and the sandalwood, but it's not a super creamy fragrance. I feel like the balance is pretty good on this one. And it's one that in the cooler fall days, great fragrance. Obviously works great in the evenings as well. If you're okay with warm, creamy, slightly sweet scents, it can be a signature scent for you if that's your style. I think it's great. It's overlooked in some cases, even though it had some serious hype at one point. Definitely try it out this fall if you haven't yet. ZADIG and Voltaire, this is him. This is the ultimate version of this particular fragrance DNA, in my opinion. I'm talking about a timeless classic, my opinion, of course, AZZARO Pour Homme. This is the Intense Flanker. Yeah, this is a bit sweeter and boozier take than the original, but it still maintains that aromatic, spicy barbershop appeal of the original. It's just warmer, smoother, and it's not that sweet, really. It's got a little bit of sweetness going for it. This brandy note that's in here, the cinnamon adds this nice, smooth, warm spice, and even though the note breakdown doesn't show you the original's DNA, it does smell like a more refined, warmer, smoother, more potent version of AZZARO Pour Homme. I love this fragrance. I'm so glad I got my hands on it. It's relatively new to the collection. I've only wore it a few times, and I'll tell you what, it was love at first sniff on my first impressions video, and every time I spray it on my skin, I fall in love with it more and more. I think this was a wonderful release. This is probably my favorite fragrance from AZZARO, to be completely honest with you. It's that good in my opinion. It's that versatile, and obviously it works great in the fall. It can, I guess you can go the route of a t-shirt with it, but personally I think it dresses up a little bit easier, but there's no reason you can't wear this one with a t-shirt. I mean, 2 of the 3 times I've worn it, I wore it with a t-shirt. It works. It's just one that's refined enough to where I think sports jacket, Oxford polos, stuff like that suit it a bit more. It's probably the better attire to work with this fragrance. Fantastic for the workforce, I'll tell you that, especially if you work indoors. Just a lovely fragrance. Smells like somebody who's serious but not too serious. Again, that's AZZARO Pour Homme, the Intense. So we can't have everyday fall fragrances without something blue somewhere in here, and one that I've worn in the last few days that's a wonderful blue fragrance for the fall is YSL. This is the Eau de Parfum. So I had a lot of people, I actually had somebody in the comments on the last video it was in, reach out to me and ask me about the batch code. So for those of you that care, here it is. I did respond in the comment for him. Something about the 100 mLs are reformulated, but the 60 mLs aren't. That's kind of wild, but whatever. My 60 ml performs just as good as the decant I used to have from like a 2-year-old bottle. God, that smells so good. This is a bit more cloying and in your face than the Eau de Toilette. The Eau de Toilette being my favorite in the line, and obviously great year round, but ideal for the warmer weather, whereas when fall kicks in, fall, winter, and even rolling into spring, I think this is a lovely everyday fragrance that can work for anything and everything. Day off, casual, t-shirt, dressed up, evenings, work fragrance, indoor, outdoor, whatever. This stuff just works. Hyper versatile, great compliment getter. And yeah, it's on the more synthetic side, don't get me wrong, but I gotta tell you, in the air, the stuff smells incredible. Even directly off of skin, it smells wonderful, but out in the air is really where this thing shines. That's why it's known for being a compliment magnet. Now, I'm not guaranteeing any compliments. No fragrance can guarantee you a compliment. If they say that in their marketing, they're being bold. But you never know who's going to pay you a nice compliment. But fragrances like YEDP, your chances are heightened because it's definitely a head turner. It's a great attention grabber and probably one of the most well-performing blue fragrances I've ever put on my skin. This stuff is long-lasting and very loud. My old decant as well as my new 60 ml bottle. Again, great for every day in the fall. YSL Eau de Parfum. So this one's very new to the collection. It's from a small indie house called City Rhythm Fragrances. Shout out to you, Niles, if you happen to see this. I just started spending time with this. I've only done one full wearing and a few test sprays so far, and I've been quite impressed with this fragrance. I am talking about City Rhythm Manhattan. This has a nice herbal aromatic tone to it. The tobacco here is a leafy type of tobacco. There's some fruitiness up top and citruses, don't get me wrong, but it's not immensely fresh. There's a light freshness up top. It's much more herbal, woody, and grounded. This is a much more refined fragrance without being too serious. I wouldn't say this is something you have to dress up, though it could definitely dress up. This works well t-shirt. I think this can go both sides of the spectrum, casual or formal, and the performance is there. It's a 50% oil concentration. It doesn't remind me of any particular fragrance. It is an original, and it's definitely got something special going here. I did try Miami Tropical Seduction as well. That's much more fruity, you know, coconut rum, bright and fresh type of fragrance, whereas this is the opposite side. I think this is a great fall, winter type of fragrance that's not too in your face, but definitely sprays will last all day. You don't need a lot of sprays of this one. Check out City Rhythm Fragrances on their website. Get yourself some samples or some of the travel atomizers and check them out, or if you're ready, go ahead and grab one of the 50 ml bottles like this, and nice little touch. It's always nice when there's some magnetic caps. But as far as the scent, this had to be in this video. It suits the video topic perfectly because in my opinion, Manhattan from City Rhythm is just a wonderful everyday fragrance for the fall. Basically a modern classic on a timeless classic scent profile. I know that's kind of strange the way I worded it, but it's accurate when we're talking about Maison Margiela Replica at the Barber's. This is one of, if not my favorite barbershop fragrance, because of the authenticity of what they're trying to recreate here. It has spices, it has aromatic soapy lavender, but it does replicate shaving cream very, very well. I do get hits of aftershave smell in it, but it's more so spicy and extremely creamy, lathered shaving cream. You know, this one is just magnificent. Not a beast. Above average performance, average to slightly above average, 5 to 7 hours type of stuff on my skin. Anywhere's in that range every time I wear it. Not when I spray my clothes with. It's laid back enough, yet smooth and refined and classy. The quality is there, so this one dresses up very well as also. That's why I think this is a great everyday fragrance. Obviously, a lot of younger guys probably won't want to go this route. It's not a modern fragrance. It's not a blue style fragrance or, you know, super crazy fresh or anything. It is an homage to the older style at the Barber's. It's a classic barbershop type of scent profile, but done to perfection in my opinion. Just great. In the $100 range from Kingdom Fragrances, that's where this bottle came from. It was $99.99 before taxes. That's a great price. If you can get your hands on any replica fragrance for $100, you're doing pretty well. They don't discount that often or that heavily from discounters, but versus retail, that's the way to go. The quality's there. This is as high-end from a quality standpoint, in my opinion, as you can really get with designers that aren't, you know, Armani Privé line and stuff like that. This is really good stuff. Wonderful every day, and it can do everything across the board from just a t-shirt on up to a suit and tie. Replica at the Barber's. So this one's a little bit different. The note breakdown will lead you to believe it's going to be this fruity, crazy sweet fragrance, but it's much more green and woody, and the color scheme's actually very fitting. It's Bond number 9, Bleecker Street. Quite polarizing, super popular. Some love it, some hate it. I personally love it. The blueberry note really stands out here. There's a lot of fresh greens, a lot of woods here. I get a strong woody nuance in the heart and dry down. But like I said, it's mostly about this herbal component that I get, even some that doesn't seem to reflect in the note breakdown. Very lovely fragrance that, while not a beast in projection, it's definitely quite long lasting on my skin. I'm looking in the 8-hour range pretty much every time I wear this one. It does have a uniqueness. There are other fragrances that kind of modeled themselves after Bleecker Street. It kind of stands alone. There's a lot of clones out there of it and so on. There's a few really good ones out there. But honestly, to get the quality and sticking with the original, Bleecker Street's definitely the way to go. This steps outside of the box without being some crazy challenging fragrance. It's different, but not so different that you can't spray this on and enjoy it every single day in the fall. Not a problem here. Signature scent-worthy kind of stuff that'll make you stand out, honestly, because of that fruitiness, because it's blueberry and this, I believe there's a caramel note in there that adds this thick sweetness, and it's just a tone, little touch of it in the background. It's different. It's different. The fruitiness is there, the sweetness is there, without overpowering. You get a lot of fresh greens and woods. That's my favorite part about it, is the versatility because of the greens and the woods. And like I said, it's got performance to boot for sure. Great for every day in the fall. Bleecker Street from Bond number 9. So this being the other blue fragrance in the video, because obviously there's a ton of blue fragrances that work great as everyday fragrances in the fall, I wanted to highlight my 2 personal favorites. One being YEDP, the other being Sauvage Eau de Parfum. Both EDP flankers in the line, I think, are great for the fall season. Yes, I love the Parfum. Yes, the Elixir will work great here too. The original Eau de Toilette, I mean, it works for everything, but this one, you get a bit more spice. In my opinion, the fall, it's spicy fragrance season. So when you have fragrances that shine, whether it's fresh spice, warm spice, whatever have you, when there's a spicy warm tone, I feel like it just works well, because you do have some warm days. That's where your fresh spicy dominated fragrances can come into play, and you do have some cooler to cold days and evenings in the fall. That's where your warmer spicy fragrances can come in, and this has that lovely attractive quality, that everyday modern freshness, the ambroxan, the bergamot, but you have the pepper, you have these spices and woods that really give this a bit more character, in my opinion, than the Eau de Toilette. Honestly, I think as you go through the flankers, it gets better and better. I like the EDP more than the EDT. I like the Parfum more than the EDP. I like the Elixir the most. Chronologically is actually how it works for me. And personally, if you're just going to get one that kind of can do it all, but really if you're in a cooler climate like I am, where it doesn't get super hot in the summer, this can be a year-round scent for you. But I think it shines in the fall and in the spring. Dior Sauvage EDP adds the most spice without dialing up the sweetness, because when you get into the Parfum, it gets smokier and a lot more sweet. So if you're not a big fan of sweet, I'm telling you, go the route of the EDP. It's the happy medium between the Eau de Toilette and the Parfum. You get the freshness, you get the spice without too much sweetness, and it performs really, really well. Great everyday fragrance that I can almost guarantee you will get the occasional compliment with this stuff. It just works. Great every day in the fall is Sauvage EDP. Now, like I was saying, in the fall, I'm all about the spices, and this one is definitely spice forward. Might be an interesting choice to some of you that have this fragrance or have smelled this fragrance, because a lot of people will think evenings. I think personally, it's a conversation starter during the day in the fall. I'm talking about BVLGARI Man in Black. The boozier take on the original Spice Bomb. I say that, but the reason I compare it to that, it's because it's what's most notable in comparison is the original Spice Bomb, though this is a little different because it has the rum, and in the dry down is tuberose and iris. On my skin, the florals shine with this stuff, so it does go through phases on my skin. It's quite nuanced, surprisingly, for a designer fragrance. It nuances like a high-level luxury fragrance on my skin, where it starts off bright, a little fresh, very spicy and boozy. As it starts to get into the heart, the booziness starts to tone down, the freshness is gone, the warmth of the spice comes out more, I get some woods, and then once I get into the deep dry down, like I said, it's all about the florals here for me. Not super powdery, but a much more floral tone. The tuberose shines. If you don't like tuberose, you might not like this one, because that's what the dry down's all about for me. But it's interesting. It's a fragrance full of character. All those different stages gives it so much character and definition coming off of my skin that it had to be in this video. It performs well, but not super long lasting. It's not crazy in your face. It's not a beast in any way. It's like a 6 or 7 hour fragrance on my skin, which is above average. That's pretty good performance in my opinion. I'm happy with that level of performance, and it's noticeable, especially in the first 2 hours or so. It kind of pushes pretty well off of my skin. After that, obviously, it's much closer to the skin. But this is one of those spicy fragrances that I think during the fall is great for everyday use. Because like I said, it's full of character. You're going to smell much more interesting than the guy wearing SAUVAGE EDP and Y EDP and the barbershop fragrances. While I do deem those wonderful for this, that's why they're in this video, I think this one's a bit more of a conversation starter and a bit more interesting and intriguing to passers-by because it's so spicy, it's got those boozy nuances, and the floral tones. It's an interesting mix. Give this one a try during the fall if you haven't yet. It's a lovely fragrance. Bulgari, Man in Black. Next, in my opinion, this is definitely the freshest fragrance in the video. If you like more fresher fragrances, this is going to be the pick that's geared for you. It's a new release for this year. It came out to mixed reviews. I bought it upon the day it released here in the US because I was very excited about this fragrance. I did a full review on it a while back. It is Ralph Lauren Polo Cologne Intense, the modern flanker to the original famed Polo Green. This stuff's really good, guys. You need to give it a chance. If you have yet to, there's a little bit of violet leaf. There's a ton of fresh greens. There's a little soapiness here. It's all about fresh and green. The green aspects really stay true to the original while taking away some of the piney aspect. It's not piney green. It's more fresh green. The tobacco's removed, and it's got some more modern synthetics in it. It's almost got a little bit of a soapy ambroxan smell. I actually believe there is a little bit of ambroxan here if I remember correctly, but it's not overdone. It's not in your face like Sauvage or Prada Luna Rosa Carbon where it's a blast of ambroxan. It's in a more supportive role here. It adds this lovely clean freshness, almost a shower gel feel in the background with the fresh greens. It's actually well composed and well blended in my opinion, and it's easy to like. Is it a groundbreaking scent? No. It does have some similarity to other fresh green fragrances that feature violet leaf and ambroxan and things like that, but I think it stands on its own because it combines those different characteristics into one fragrance. I honestly think it was a great release. Personally, I know not everybody feels that way, but it's one I believe you need to get out and try for yourself on your skin because you may end up leaving with a bottle. Maybe a pass for you, but again, you may end up leaving with a bottle. I think it was a great release. One of my favorites of the year for sure, especially if you like fresh and green. Ralph Lauren Polo Cologne Intense. Last but not least, believe it or not, I wanted to put a specific cologne fragrance in here because it kind of takes, it's almost like a hybrid of two fragrances, that being Nishane Hasavat and Creed Aventus, because I find I get the opening of Hasavat and the dry down of Aventus, and the quality's there. It's even in the name for the brand. It's Niche for All Pineapple Oak. So, like I said, in the opening, I get all of the citrus and freshness and bergamot and everything of Hasavat. As it dries, I start to get black currant and birch, a little bit of rose and ambergris. It starts to become Aventus. It's interesting how it transitions because right now it's floating in the air and I smell Hasavat. I don't smell Aventus. If you look at the note breakdown, it looks like the Aventus note breakdown, but it's a Hasavat opening with an Aventus dry down. I just find that to be so interesting. Super high quality oils here. That's why they designed the name as Niche for All, because it is niche level quality. It's definitely luxury quality oils. The performance is there, and honestly, I know it can be boring to go after Aventus clones, but This isn't just some run-of-the-mill Aventus clone. That's why I felt like it was noteworthy, because the easy answer was to put Creed Aventus in here. Or Nichane Hasavat. They're great fragrances for the fall. They really are. Everyday, signature scent worthy, boss level stuff. You smell expensive, you smell great. I get it. You get the best of both worlds and you save some coin. You're not going to spend a ton of money. Hell, you can get one of their 3-packs like I have and try a few fragrances, because they have some outstanding fragrances from the house of Niche for All. Swedish company. They will be coming from overseas if you're here in the States, but a clone company worthy of trying because of the quality. This isn't what I like to call clone level oils, where it falls somewhere in between more synthetic designers and high-end luxury, where this is above that. This falls into the quality of high-end luxury niche. So really good stuff. I felt it was worthy to be here instead of putting Nichane or Creed, because not everybody wants to spend the money on those. I understand just how pricey they can be. Creed more so than Nichane, but I feel like you get the best of both fragrances in one bottle with Niche for All Pineapple Oak. So that's the 10 I have for you today, and until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. Do any of these spark your interest? Do you have any of these, and what do you think about them? Do you feel the same way, that they're great everyday scents for the fall? Is this stuff you like to wear more towards the evenings? I can understand that with some of these fragrances, because they have a little bit more warmth and sweetness going for them, and I know that can kind of gear towards the evenings a little bit more, but definitely nothing here is too sweet in my opinion. Great for those cooler fall days. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of the 10 fragrances featured in this video and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.